Evening, everybody. Um, I talk a lot about waves, tower building, slide, um, and was thinking the other day of where I am and what I got coming up. Obviously, I've got kind of the biggest match of my career coming up this summer, June 25th, with kind of the man, Levon Sagnashvili. Um, so I've got to do everything perfect. Everything as perfect as possible. I think a lot about this match. To me, it's so serious, to do it as well as possible. And I can't help but have feelings that actually remind me just a little bit, just a little bit. I mean, not exactly, but just a little bit like when I used to go on tour when I was an army guy. Um, when you get ready to go on a mission overseas, there's a lot of things that you should do. You got to get a lot of things in line spiritually. I say spiritually, whatever that means to you. But you have to have a lot of things in place so that you can have a clear conscience to worst case scenario, not come back. So they give us something called predeployment leave. And that's typically a time to spend with your family, kind of get all your administration sorted out so that once you cut and cross that line, that you're able to work, with a clear head, so that you can perform your absolute best. And I can't help but think that I'm kind of getting ready to do that. People have asked me a lot, what was your favorite job that you did in the military? And to me, it's more about a position, not necessarily a place of work. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I loved where I worked, but there are positions in that place that, to me, I really wanted to hold on to them as long as I could in my career. To me, it's really what being a fighter is all about, and that's really what that's kind of what wakes me up. It's kind of what gives me what I'm looking for, is to be in some kind of a fight. And to me, there never was really a higher fight than being in the military. It really was, the highest level of fighting that I thought that I could achieve with my life. Um, don't get me wrong, I love arm wrestling. It's super cool. But in terms of like seriousness of fighting, arm wrestling is a step below, going off and doing missions. But there are similarities, especially when you become more and more invested. The position I'm talking about that I always loved so much is being the number one. The number one. And it's funny. So many people try and hold on to that position. They write memos. They try and stay number one or number two, or as close to the front as possible for as long as they can. A lot of people do. I was one of those people. Never really wanted to ever sit behind a computer and have to plan training or organize, or I just wanted to be, number one is great. Minimum responsibilities, maximum action. Number one. The number one's real job is to kick ass. Number one's responsibility is, once he's given the squeeze, given the permission to go forward with maximum violence, until you come to a point where you may need backup, and then you wait for the next permission to go forward. It's definitely where the action is, and it's in my opinion where I always like to be. Arm wrestling world, when you get at that table, you're definitely the number one. You're definitely the number one. But when you think of getting to the table, all the things that are required, you're not just the number one. You lead a full life. There's a position called the number two. And the number two that's a super important job too. The number two's job, apart from kicking ass, is to make sure that the number one is set up. The number one has their backup so that they can progress with a clear mind, knowing that they've got backup. Obviously there's a full stack, right? There's a 3, there's whatever, there's a whole snake behind you. But that number one has got to know that they've got the squeeze. They've got to know. And I think that that's what I'm doing right now. I'm probably still like somewhere around the number 4, getting the number 3, everything sorted out in my life, so that then I can be a number 2. And finally, once everything is set up in my life, I'm going to give myself the squeeze. Probably, I'm thinking February. February, I give myself the squeeze, and I'm that number 1 again. And it'll be a nice run in, a nice time for me to focus on just kicking ass. I'm really looking forward to it. Really, really looking forward to it. Anyways, just a little comparison for you guys there. All these things are important. You need to have a clear conscience. You need to kind of do your best to remove all the distractions you're going to have. 420 special. Anyways, whatever. Big weekend coming up. Lockie versus Todzilla. So excited about that match. Australia, can you guys do it? This is it. This is the big opportunity. All right, guys. Have a good evening. Love y'all.